Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unmanned, Canada has new drone safety regulations. State Farm is granted the first national FAA waiver for drone flights. And Indemnis parachute for DJI drones meets new safety standards. Welcome to the Aero-News Network's Airborne-Unmanned program, a weekly news program covering all things unmanned in partnership with the Association for Unmanned Vehicle Systems International. Welcome to today's show. I'm Skylar Vanell. Our top story this week, Canada's Minister of Transport announced the country's new rules for remotely piloted aircraft systems. The new rules will go in effect on June 1st and will apply to all drone pilots flying drones between 250 grams and 25 kilograms. The rules apply to all even if it's for fun, work, or research. The new simplified rules reflect significant consultations with Canadians and the industry. The final regulations introduce two main categories of drone operation, basic and advanced. The categories are based on distance from bystanders and airspace rules. Both categories have their own set of easy-to-follow rules that will require the drone pilot to register and mark the drone with its registration number, pass an exam, be at least 14 years of age, stay below 400 feet, and stay away from air traffic. Only drone pilots who need to fly a drone outside the rules for basic or advanced operations will need to apply for a special flight operations certificate before they fly. In the next Unmanned Minute, we'll take a look at stories that are making the rounds of the unmanned vehicle communities. Flights departing from London's Heathrow Airport were held for about an hour last week. This comes after police claim to have seen another drone near the area. The first drone sightings were reported around 5 p.m. But about an hour later, airport officials confirmed on Twitter that the flights were operating as scheduled. DJI introduced a new remote controller for its drones at CES. The smart controller features an ultra-bright display screen and controls optimized for DJI drones. It uses a 5.5-inch screen built into the controller. The smart controller allows pilots to quickly get their drones in the air without the need to connect to a mobile device. It can be paired with DJI's newest drones, including Mavic 2 Zoom and Mavic 2 Pro, which uses DJI's OcuSync 2.0 video transmission system, which displays vivid images in full HD resolution. A project to develop a hydrogen fuel cell-powered multi-rotor UAV has beaten its original test flight target of 60 minutes. It hit a new benchmark for flight time and payload in the commercial UAV industry. The initial target of the project was to achieve 60 minutes of continuous flight while carrying an 11-pound payload. In the most recent test, it saw it fly for a total of 70 minutes while carrying an 11-pound payload. Northwest UAV has partnered with Indemnis to offer a new avionics system in the industry. Their Veranti autopilots have been added to Northwest UAV's growing product line. As the industry continues to grow rapidly, Northwest UAV offers modular building blocks for the unmanned systems that complement their own propulsion systems and other offered services. Well, that wraps up our Unmanned Minute. State Farm has been granted the first national waiver to any company in the U.S. by the FAA. The national waiver allows State Farm to conduct drone operations over people and flights beyond the pilot's visual line of sight through November 2022. Previous waivers for State Farm was granted were limited to a short time frame and to specific geographic areas affected by hurricanes. Current FAA regulations restrict pilots from flying drones beyond their visual line of sight and over groups of people. In a natural disaster, access to the area may be challenged by water, debris, and damage to the infrastructure. The national waiver will also open up new opportunities for State Farm by allowing longer distance flights. State Farm has been working with the Mid-Atlantic Aviation Partnership at Virginia Tech on drone safety case research. As a member of the Virginia IPP team, State Farm has worked with MAAP to assess a wide range of potential risk and strategies to reduce them. The Indemnis Nexus parachute system for the DJI Inspire 2 drone has been validated as compliant with the new international standards for drone parachutes. This comes after a strenuous testing procedure at the New York UAS Test Site managed by NUAIR. The FAA prohibits most drone operations directly over people as a safety precaution. Professional drone operators can apply for a waiver from that restriction if they can demonstrate they have a strong safety mitigation in place. The system is intended to be the core of a parachute-based safety mitigation plan for a waiver, and can also help provide one path forward for advanced operations as the FAA looks into how to allow routine flights directly over people. Nexus is a ballistic parachute launcher that is triggered automatically if the drone suddenly tilts or falls. It deploys the parachute within 30 milliseconds at 90 miles an hour through a tube that rapidly inflates to keep the parachute lines away from the drone's body and propellers. Well, that wraps up our program for this week. In addition to this program, our daily Airborne-Unlimited episodes covering the entire aviation and aerospace world are streamed Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Don't forget to follow us and make sure to subscribe. Get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. And for more information on the innovative world of all things unmanned at auvsi.org or airborne-unmanned.net. We will see you next week.